Cotney Attorneys and Consultants is dedicated to helping the construction industry with legal, business, and safety challenges. Welcome to this week's episode of Law and Mortar with John Kenny and Trent Cotney.
I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of Law and Mortar. My name is Trent Cotney. I am CEO of Cotney Attorneys and Consultants. As always, we've got John Kenny. John is the CEO of our consulting company, wears a lot of other hats. John, how are you doing?
Doing great. Wrapping up another fantabulous week and looking forward to hopefully everybody has a great weekend coming up and a beautiful week starting next week.
Absolutely. So we've got some big events coming up. I know we did some planning this week for IRE, International Roofing Expo, and it's going to be a little bit different this year. It's from August 9th to the 12th in Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay. And they're doing no badges. They've said they want to have minimal swag. And for those of you that know, I love my swag. So a little change there. But we got a lot of things going on. I know we're going to be doing a little bit different. Our booth will be right next to NRCA's. We're going to have a double-sized booth. And I know, John, you're going to have some audio-visual stuff going on in our booth and some other things as well. Why don't you tell our listeners about it?
Yeah, so we figured without the swag. So we are going to anybody coming, don't panic. We will have some ways of doing some drawings where we'll get you to some good prizes at a later, after the convention's over. So, but what we thought of doing, we got this. We love technology. That's what we love to do best. So we got a fantastic LED screen we're going to bring out, hook up to a computer. We'll be able to do live demos. We'll have videos running of everything that we do. Kind of brighten it up a little bit, change it up since you really can't have all the giveaways and the swag on the table. So stop by. We will not disappoint, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing everybody.
Absolutely. And we're going to be doing a lot of other things there. We have some special suites and some other things that we're going to be able to do at Mandalay Bay. So stay tuned for more information on that. I know it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a lot of both our legal team and our consulting team out there. So it should be a good time. John, next thing I want to turn to you, and I know you had a call about this in particular, but the shortages issue, the pricing with materials continues to dominate everything that we do. And one of the things that, I've dealt with from a legal standpoint, and I know you've dealt with it from a consulting standpoint, are delays on projects, increased lead times and things that push project completion dates out. Why don't you talk a little bit about, I guess, some of the experiences that you had, at least this week, talking to customers about delays?
Yeah, I mean it's real, and if I don't know of anyone, I haven't spoken to one person that has not experienced this in one form or another. I'm talking even in residential. I've talked to people that said they can get shingles, but it's limited on brands, it's limited on colors. Just got off a call just before we did this on that issue, and that was up in the Chicagoland area. I mean, but here this morning, I had a call with one of our clients, and it had a delay that they didn't cause for only 2 months. So we're not talking about a long term. And in the time of 2 months delay, this is roughly like a 30,000, 300 square job, right? 30,000 square foot, 300 square in that ballpark. The screws, fasteners, screws, plates, assembly for this project increased by $40,000, and they can't get them. So besides the price increase, they still can't get them, which is going to create another 2 to 3 months delay. So, I mean, when you think about it, I got to say that one kind of hit home on me. You hear about a lot of other price increases, but a simple screw and plate on a 300 square job increasing by 40,000. The original order probably wasn't even a third of that to do the job. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and we're hearing the same type of horror stories on our end. One of the things that I'm often tasked with, John, is trying to figure out how to negotiate with customers to get them off center. How do I get them to pay more money or give more time on jobs? And one of the techniques and tactics that we've used on the legal side pretty effectively is really looking at the entire project to see whether or not there is a delay that happened prior to the delay that we're talking about now, that's a result of materials, that we could say impacted the schedule. So by example, if you had a delay in January or February that knocked you off a couple of months and you would have been completed, let's say, by the end of March, and now you're here, Well, you could say, well, because of that prior delay that had nothing to do with me, now I am in this area where I'm not going to be able to get materials, or I'm going to face increased prices. And that's been a fairly effective way to argue for either a change order or a claim under the contract. So it requires some creativity, and we're encouraging all our customers to really think outside the box. We rarely take no for an answer when it comes to helping our clients and customers, and there's usually always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, right, John?
No, absolutely. One other forewarning, it's not just roofing that's being affected, it's all trades, right?
Right.
So I will warn on this because I've talked to 3 contractors with this issue. They went ahead and pre-bought the material for a project coming up. It was a new construction, which if you've got the cash flow, I understand it's a smart move. You got the material. Project got canceled, not because of the roofing, but because other trades increases were so great, they canceled the project. And guess what? That's going to be a huge legal battle coming over onto your side for sure, on the attorney side, Trent, on our side there, because they're stuck with it. And the problem is it was specialized material for that project that you're just not going to use somewhere else. So, buyer beware. And as they say, be careful, because this is something I have not faced it in my 45 years. We've had shortages before, we've had price increases, we've had inflation, all the things we kind of got, but never in this. And I believe I heard you say earlier on one of the webinars you were doing, Trent, which is a great way. Probably since World War II, we've never faced anything similar to this. And that was probably as close as we can go back to. And there's not many of us around that dealt with it then. So it's new grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be an issue we're going to continue to talk about, because I don't see it going away anytime soon. I want to turn to something else that we're doing that's kind of cool here. For our listeners, they know that we've got a training center. It's got anything and everything you ever wanted. We got mock-ups for low slope, steep slope, wall panels, you name it. And Jim Montague, who is our training consultant, really does a great job in maintaining it and helping train as far as classes. We've been able to do a lot of different classes, everything from CERTA to Pro Cert to generalized workforce training. So it's been a great addition to what we have here at our headquarters, but we're expanding, right? And one of the things that I think is going to be real interesting is what's to come. So John, why don't you give our listeners a teaser as to what we're doing here at our headquarters?
Well, we actually just started construction on what we're putting up. It's called an innovation center. So, and this is going to tie into the Cotney Capital that you all have seen out there. So we're going to take the best of incubator programs in this innovation center and tie it into the best of what we're doing in consulting for training and all that. And then also have a lot of outside participants from other ends of the organization or other ends of the industry, whether it be from the educational field, the universities, contractors, investors, all kinds of stuff. I've had a lot of calls this week with people to get in on the ground floor. So I'm pretty excited about it, but construction has finally started. We started that earlier this week. It looks good going down there and seeing the room starting to be built out. And I think everybody's going to enjoy it. So there's a lot more to come. That's just a preview that construction started, but there's going to be a lot of innovation to see coming in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're one of the areas that we're going to have in this center that will connect to our training center is an area of new technology. So obviously Cotney Capital and some of our other entities really focus on technology and construction. We're going to work with a lot of our partners to help showcase the latest and greatest that's out there. So there's going to be a room dedicated to that. We're going to have some general conference room capability and other meeting space availability as part of our incubator program. So very excited about what's to come there. Our goal again is to increase the width of our umbrella so that it covers more and more and more. And stay tuned for more on that. We're going to put some social media, some press out on that once it's completed. But yeah, the shovel hit the ground this week, so I was excited to announce it to our viewers. So John, you know what time it is? We have
time for a question.
It is time for a question. And we have a lot of questions that are submitted to us by our loyal listeners. I can only ask one at a time, but it's always a good one. So one of the things that has come up recently, and this is a question, I'm going to modify the question a little bit. This question is from Jacob. The question that was asked is, what is sort of the do's and don'ts for when you are around other contractors in meetings? And in particular, he's asking about job site meetings. But I guess I want to take a little bit of a different spin on it because I've talked about it several times this week. And one of the things I want to make sure that our listeners understand is that when you're at association meetings or when you are at industry meetings, you need to be very careful and watch out that you don't talk about things like pricing, or you don't talk about things like profit margins, or trying to ensure that you're controlling a geographic area, because that runs up into antitrust laws. And where this comes up a lot is where one of the listeners may feel that they're not included within that conversation. So it's very important that if you're talking about that, you keep everything general. You don't want to talk about specifics. You don't want to say, hey, we're going to price this project at 15,000. You should price every single project like this the same way. Yes, we agree to do that. That's when you get into trouble. So you need to understand, anytime there's a group of people and there's some collusion there and you start talking about pricing or profit margins or even labor rates, stay away from that stuff. Stick general. John, what do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. And probably to take it to the other end of the spectrum there for, is it Jacob, I believe said a question?
Yep.
So Jacob, also too, besides the legality and that comes into it and anything else, you want to teach your people to basically be quiet, right? Because when you go to any of these meetings and you're at industry events, it's great to share knowledge of the industry and stuff like that, but don't give away the secrets of your company. Everyone has something that they're doing. Don't, when you're on a pre-bid meeting or you're out there on a bid gathering, teach your people not to say, hey, this is our type of job, we're going after this hard, or we're not interested. Don't tip it off. I've seen that, God, how many times I saw that over my career. But besides what Trent just gave great advice on that, I've heard that. It's like, you guys can't be saying this, but on that one, silence is golden.
Absolutely. And the one thing on the legal side, we always say antitrust claims are an SHTF event. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. So you want to definitely avoid any of those types of conversations. Well, John, as always, we talked about a lot of stuff. I want to really thank our listeners. We are still the #1 construction law podcast in the world, and it's thanks to you guys that listen to us on a weekly basis. If you ever have any questions for me, you can reach out to me, Trent Cotney, tcotney@cotneycl.com. John, how can they get you?
That's jkenny@cotneycl.com. Anytime, we're here for you.
All right, keep those questions coming. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.